Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another monthly favorites, and this time we're going to be taking a moment to reflect back on May and see how the month went. We're going to be looking at a few different categories within the monthly favorites, and we will also cover what actually didn't work, or it was just why was it just not really working as effectively as it could have. So if that sounds good, then why waste time? Why don't we just kind of get started? If we've never met before and this is the first time that we're meeting, well, hello, how are you? My name is Meshi and I'm the person behind Align Plans. We talk a couple of times a week on this channel, and we're all about minimalist planning and journaling and planning and stationery loves and all the things that makes up this beautiful hobby. But we're doing that with intention so that we're not just accumulating the things, but we're allowing these tools to actually enhance our lives. So if that sounds good, then why don't we just consider subscribing if you haven't had a chance to just yet. And here's the thing. So when we're looking at monthly favorites, I really like taking, it's not so much of a favorite as it is more like a moment to reflect, because the idea is not to constantly accumulate new things, but to see if we can find new ways to use what we currently own. You know what I mean? So sometimes it's not necessarily that the product doesn't work, it's the fact that the way that I'm currently using it in my own routine based on how much time I have available and how I'm showing up with my planners and my journals, that's the part that might not be clicking. It doesn't necessarily mean that the product itself is bad. So that being said, like if you have these products and you love them, please continue to use them. I'm not advocating in any way, shape, or form that, you know, they're bad. It's just, it might not have worked for me for whatever reason. And when it comes to monthly favorites, it's the same type of thing, that something is clicking and it's working really well within my routine, and it's actually making me more productive or more effective at what I'm trying to achieve. So the categories that I thought that we would be kind of looking at today is obviously planners and planner systems, accessories and decor, pens and inks, and then we're going to look at flops. So let's get started with first the planners. So I mean, this will come as absolutely no surprise. I think I mentioned this last month as well, that the thing that was working really well for me last month and in the full month of May is actually, I'm back in my Hobonichi weeks. Not that I ever left, but I was just making a really like minimal effort to actually update it. So what's working really well is actually like the weekly spread. And I'm utilizing the note section a lot more. I'm not spending too much time on the decor, but what I have been finding is I'm more utilizing these two sections, and then I'm actually adding like things that are actually relevant to me. The note section is where things kind of shine a little bit more, just because I'm either adding like sticky notes in here, or I've been adding like, I've been literally using up almost like a full page to update anything and everything. I've also used it to kind of try to price out trips and just like the full day of to-do list. Sometimes I can fit 3 days in there. Sometimes it's like one page for the whole day. But for the most part, if I go all the way back to the end of April and beginning of May, like I've been using it pretty consistently. So that part kind of makes me happy. And also it allows me to use up some of these smaller stickers, which is really nice. Here we go. So it's just adding like small little decor pieces and that I wouldn't necessarily use anywhere else. Actually, I should remove these just so that I can talk about it with you later. But so far, like I'm using inks that I really like, and I'm kind of just keeping it very like bare bone basics, bullet journal style, and that part is working really well for me because I'm adding all the reminders, and it's one thing for me to check, and then we're good to go. The other thing that is working really well for this month is actually the passport size TN. For some reason, I'm keep coming back to this, just because. Not necessarily because I'm finding like this little small notebook so functional, but because I'm finding the weekly very, very functional. So again, if I kind of go back to the month of May, so if we just kind of go, like you can kind of tell, like end of April, I was basically just writing the bare bone basics in. I don't know, like the month of April was just not exactly a good month for me. And then starting in May, I've been a lot more consistent, or I would miss 1 week, I guess. But here, like, I love spreads like this, like the one that we just did, and then the one after that, where I'm adding the decoration that I want. It's decorated exactly the way that I was hoping it would look, and it has all the information that I actually need for things to be functional. And it's crazy how much information I can actually fit in here without wanting this to become also an outlet for journaling. I think that's the thing that I've noticed, that here I need to keep this very, very functional, where I kind of just add in my schedule, maybe what we're having for dinner, or like adding parts of my meal plan, my wellness routine, and then that's basically it. And maybe there's some space for adding some small journaling updates, but I don't feel that it's necessary in order for me to be happy with the overall spread, because then I also like to kind of leave some space for any small decoration that kind of makes sense. That's it on the weekly. Now, this little booklet, I'm getting to a point where like I'm trying my best to really finish this up, because obviously like I've had this since like last summer. So clearly we need to get a move on it. I did a couple of spreads here, and I'm trying my best. We're literally down to like the last, I think, 8 pages. So I'm hoping to actually just finish this off this week, and then maybe then we can actually move into some of these newer notebooks that I bought, because I've had these for quite some time. And when I tell you, I have such a strong preference for, so this is from Yamamoto paper. These are the Robiki Note Shape series. So this one is Flying Birds. This one is Tokaido, and this one is the Museum series, and it's the flower one. Again, like so beautiful. I mean, I honestly like just everything from like the paper quality to like the cover is absolutely stunning. So I mean, as much as I like the Muji notebooks, I think that they're really pretty. Like they're fine. They're very functional, and they're sort of just like, you know, it's something to kind of grab when you have like nothing else available, and it's very inexpensive. So I'm not hating on Muji, but there's just something very special about these where it kind of feels like an art form. You know what I mean? So I am definitely motivated to kind of finish this off so that I can kind of finally switch over. I'm not so big on like adding any stickers or any extra decoration in here. I literally just want to be able to enjoy this beautiful cover so that we can finally move in. So that's sort of my plan here. And then of course, we're almost in June. So this little booklet is almost done, which means in a separate video, we can actually spend some time together on setting up the next booklet and how things are kind of going to work within the TN here. I did add this back, the little wallet, just because I really wanted to be able to utilize it. And did I add any? I think I added maybe some stickers here. Not too many. I would like to use this as a wallet at some point. Right now, I'm more just using it as a place where I can kind of collect anything and everything that is sort of relevant to when I'm out and about. But as we're moving in more into the summer months, I foresee me having this with me a lot more often, just so that I can do a lot more journaling. So, and I love doing journaling on the go, and I find that this is more than sufficient for my needs. Then that brings me to my next point of what is happening with the full-size TN. So with the full-size TN, it's a little bit of a different story. So here, actually, like for the month of May, I've done relatively well. I'm not up to date on the current week, but that's okay. But then when I'm looking back, I love this. And this, I actually set this up separately. When I sat down, it wasn't so that I can film it. It was just simply for me to just sit down and connect with my planner and my journal and plan out the week. And like, I love everything about this. I was able to use up like old sticker, like press on sticker sheets, like right here. Oh, it's just like everything about this, just, it doesn't feel busy to me. It feels like it's how I want my spreads to look instead of this. This feels very empty to me. And I know that it's because I didn't actually take the time to fully set everything up, but I was relatively consistent throughout the week. So sometimes I skip a week, but that's, you know, if I literally don't have the time, then like starting from basically the full actual week of May, I've been relatively consistent. So I'm trying my best, but then Other weeks are doing really great where I can add in all the things that I want, and each week can feel a little bit different than the next. So I still love this, but I find that I need to really set aside time in my schedule for me to actually update this on a regular basis. I've been, and I think that I talked to you guys about this, I've been struggling with using this as a daily planner. I find that the Hobonichi week's a little bit more functional when it comes to that. But when I do end up using it, it's not that it's a bad daily journaler, but I guess I haven't figured out if I want to use this booklet as a commonplace book or if I wanted to use this as a daily journaler. But ideally, I would love for this to become like a daily planner where I can actually just plan out my whole day. And then I could use the other insert that I have here, which is just a dot grid notebook for actual journaling, for adding like more creative journaling, even though I added a key as a commonplace book. But I don't like using this as a commonplace book, and I hate the fact that it's a white paper. So I don't know. I think that's sort of where my struggle is, that I'm not reaching for this nearly as often, but I still love the way some of these spreads are turning out to be, because it gives me enough space for me to do the planning that I really want to. So I mean, like a couple of these spreads are like absolutely awesome. So that's kind of where we're at emotionally with the TN, that it's good, but I don't see myself taking this with me on the go, because that's not really what it's, to me, that's not how I really want to use it. Moving on, now let's talk about things that are actually really working well. The other thing that I wanted to mention is the Take a Note. Take a Note has also been really great for me when I actually sit down and set things up. So I did set up my monthly layout for the month of May, which was really nice. I'm not adding a ton of decoration. I just don't feel like I need to. And then for weeklies, here's a couple of pages of the spreads and how we're evolving. I really like the categories that I'm using. I'm not sure about the pen, if I'm gonna stick with that or not, but when I do, it's fine, and I like it, and I like that I can kind of play around a little bit with color. Love this, a lot more writing and a lot more updates. And then that brings me to the current week. Again, I still have to update this current week. I'm gonna do that separately off camera, but I really like all the little things that I'm keeping track of. So like the main thing is the family moments and the memorable moments, and I'm actually attending to my mental health. So I'm not really using this more like a journal, like a tracker or anything, but I really like adding stuff about my mental health, of exactly how I'm feeling, what is really going on with me, and then it's sort of like where I'm at, which would reflect on how the spreads are doing. Does that make sense? So like I know that if I'm energetic and I'm, getting things done and I feel a lot more productive and I'm not really resisting things and I'm not feeling burnt out or aggravated, I know that my spreads will kind of reflect that, versus weeks when I just feel really run down, I'm working a lot, or physically I just feel really tired, or if I'm running low on sleep, then obviously I don't feel inspired to even reach for this. As for the dailies here, or the note section back here, sometimes I reach for it, sometimes I don't. I've done very minimal journaling here, which is fine. I think that's kind of the freedom that this planner / journal kind of provides. Is I think I checked in once in May. So there you go. But the weekly spreads are really working well for me. Let's talk a little bit about decoration. Oh, and one more thing I wanted to mention about about inserts. This actually came in my last Infinite Lotus box. I'm just gonna show you a sample of this and why I like it. I want to show you like a blank one. Okay, this weekly spread is so well done and so well thought out. Here we go. So I can now show you. So this weekly spread, there's just so much that works here. And in case it's too far away, I will just show you like daily, 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 daily. So these blocks are all daily blocks. And then we make it here. Okay, I had to switch out my candle just because I was ready for a different scent, but also Ellie was having a bad dream, so obviously we had to wake her up because I'm just hearing her whimper. So we have like all of these different blocks for the dailies, which is really lovely. And especially when I'm trying to just kind of shove in all the things that are like needing to be updated financially. Because right now, like keep in mind, like this whole planner, as you can tell with all of these envelopes, are more becoming a financial planner. And maybe in a separate video, if you guys are interested in seeing like a full update, because I'm planning on switching out a lot of the inserts here. This is not, I'm not planning on using this for creativity. I really want to be able to like utilize all of these accessories, all of these stickers and things like that, so that it becomes like one of the most functional planners that I own. And I want to be able to kind of use that for managing our finances and doing financial planning. So I like that it has a note section. It has a full-blown to-do list section, and then it has some habit tracking. Now, I'm not necessarily sure I would end up using the habit tracker, but the to-do list is wonderful, and the priorities are also great. And I like that I can add in updates about not just like the bills that are due, but I can also add in what I wanted to do with investments and things like that, and where I see like building up like a savings challenge. Or actually one thing that we could be tracking is no spend here. So that would be kind of nice. And maybe we can do like a savings challenge. So like I kind of see myself adding like more inserts for savings challenges. The other thing that I actually used this for that was really, really helpful is I added, so some of these notes, this was like just so perfect for me to just research vacation packages and flight information and where I would like to stay and who has the cheapest price. And I mean, I could write that in a book, but this was just so like such better outlet for it. So I've been really loving that. And I haven't decided what I want to do with the back here yet, but I like that for now we have like a daily section here, like some inserts for daily plans, and then just some very generic, neutral, very functional inserts for the time being, at least until I kind of make the switch and I really figure out which sections I want to keep in here for financials and for financial planning. So that's sort of my update on the rings planner. That's kind of why you haven't really seen much of this, because for the most part, I've been keeping things very functional with this. And I'm not sure if I'm going to keep all of these money envelopes here. I probably will remove them just because I like having it separate. I don't know. Like, I think it gets bulky really quickly as soon as you start stuffing them with cash. And then I like to do I need to condense them a little bit so that it's not so chunky, because this gets epic really quickly. Let's talk a little bit about a few accessories, which we briefly talked about, but not really. So some of the accessories that I've been really loving for this past month, there's only like 2 washi tapes. So both are cat related, just because why not? This is one of them. It's very much just about this lazy cat, and I mean, I'm so here for it. And then this is the other one, and I might have mentioned this last month as well when I got this from Kubo and Lucy. The love affair is still very strong, just because sometimes I like these types of washi tapes where like one washi tape can basically decorate your spread. Do you know what I mean? So sometimes that's all you need. You don't really need a ton of stuff. I also had a moment with sticky notes, but again, keeping it very functional. One of them is the Infinite Lotus Reminder. The other one is the May Paper Co. This you can kind of add basically a top category here, and then you can write your notes. And then these 2 are from Delhi, very inexpensive. They had them in like an Asian market near me. And I mean, again, so cute, very inexpensive, and I love that it adds like a little pop of color, which makes me just so happy. So these were like my favorites. And as far as like sticker sheets are concerned, honestly, like I've been really liking, I'll just show you like 2. These are like, I bought like a whole bunch of series from Mindwave. Currently you can find them in, actually let me put this as a background. Hopefully you can see them. Currently, you can find these on Paper Plus Cloth's website. I actually got them from Kubo and Lucy. This one is Dana Eat Oatmeal. Again, like I love everything about this, and the size just kind of works in all of my planners and journals. Swatelier. This is Swatelier, and so is this, but like so cute. And these are more like a thicker type of sticker. If you've seen my latest Instagram update where I actually decorate my desk calendar, I actually use this. So in case you haven't seen it, I'll just pop the Instagram handle here so you can take a look. And then this one, I took some of this off actually, and I put it into the sticker release sheet, like little booklet that you can use with your TN. So I have these kind of separate, and then I just added it here at the front just so that I have them whenever I need it. And let's talk a little bit about inks actually and pens. For pens, I do have a couple of, so not much has changed with pens. I do have a couple of flops that just really, it's not that they're bad pens. Obviously, they are not bad pens because I've had them for a while and I've used them for a while and they were working really great, but they didn't get the airtime that they usually get. So these were some of my flops. There's only 3. One of them is the Kaweco Sport in Mint. So this actually had the lighter blue. Currently, this one has this royal blue insert or cartridge. It's fine. I wasn't reaching for it nearly as much. I bet you though, if I went back to the Traveler's Notebook, like that large insert with the white paper, I would probably actually reach for this pen because it shows up beautifully. But on yellow paper, it doesn't work quite as much. I was using the Pro Gear Slim from Sailor, but it wasn't my favorite. It felt actually kind of scratchy on some of the papers, so I don't know. I wasn't reaching for this, and I didn't even ink this. This is also a Pro Gear Slim from Sailor. It's their Moroccan Mint Tea edition. I like this pen still, but I'm not reaching for this nearly as much as the ones that I've been reaching for the entire month, which just ends up being here. One of them is actually the Sarasa. This one is like a limited edition one, just based on the little decoration. So, I mean, you always need a Sarasa. This has been like my absolute go-to. This is from Pentel. Is it? Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's their Pentel Energel in 0.5. It's in a needle tip. I can't get enough of this pen. Like if I could buy like 10 of these, I really would. And then the ones that I've been really reaching for really frequently are actually these 2. These are the Pilot Kakuyos. One of them is in a medium nib. One of them is in a fine nib. I love both of them for different reasons. We'll talk about the ink in a moment. And then this white Kaweco is another one that I was kind of reaching for quite often. And this one has the brown, like this caramel brown Kaweco color, like the ink in here. This, I thought that I would have such an issue with this, and I thought that it would be like the messiest thing ever. It actually wasn't. This is in like the soft peach color, and then the color that I was using was actually that soft purple. I thought that I would hate it. I really like it. No, it's not this. It's the... So this was the color. This is called Summer Purple. And I'm pretty sure that I don't think... I'm not going to switch out the ink for the month of June until I run out of this, just because I want more brighter and lighter colors moving into the summertime. So these have been my go-tos, and they end up staying here in my pen case just because I like all of these pens. And then these are the ones that I was just not really reaching for very much, just because it just, I don't know, like it was just not working for me. Now, as far as inks are concerned, I thought that it would be fun to actually just, instead of showing you close-ups, I will just swatch them for you live, just to make life a little bit easier. Okay, so first up is the Sailor Shikiori Yutsabame. It's almost like a burnt, like red, rustic red. Next up, this one is Sui Gayoku from Pilot. Next up is Sailor Manos Tsuyu. I feel like I probably swatched this for you guys because like it's like this really beautiful blue. Which it almost looks black, but then when you look at the cap and the size, like once it's sheared out, it's more like a blue. And then the last one is Amairo from Pilot. This one is a lighter blue. So these were like the top 4 that I reached for the most. And I mean, like, if you kind of look at the color scheme, it's kind of well represented for spring, because you have a little bit of color and you have a little bit of lightness, and then and then a little bit of thunder, pretty much. But and then obviously the rest of the Kaweco colors that have been like dominating were the caramel, oh my gosh, what was it called? Midnight Blue, which was also fairly commonly reached for, and then the green, the palm green, which I just, now I'm just keeping it in loaded in one of my pens just because I know that I'm going to enjoy it. But these were more like the ones that I manually filled up my pens with. Okay, let's finally move on to what were the flops, which I kind of mentioned throughout the video. The flops were obviously the pens that I mentioned. And then, oh, the other thing that was like really not working well is I got this like a while ago. I thought that I could actually just add this to any one of my planners. This is basically a clip from Conmido, and it has, they kind of sticked on like these page flags, which I thought was so clever and so awesome, except as soon as you put this on, like everything starts kind of bulking up. So I wasn't really a huge fan of that I couldn't really actually utilize this. There was something similar, I think it was actually the pen lube that I had from this kind of reminds me of like the pen lube that we had from Traveler's Notebook, where it was sort of like a similar concept, but like everything just kind of bulked up and it wasn't like holding the pens properly. So that it kind of gave me that same vibe. And yeah, I don't think that there were too many flops. I think that the biggest flop, I guess, that I could call a flop or a fail would actually be the Traveler's Notebook, just based on how much I was kind of reaching for it. Or I guess it's just a shift in what needs to happen for moving into June and into the summer months, of how my relationship would change with this, just because I'm finding that I'm not reaching for this. I'm not taking the time to actually plan out things in there on a regular basis, or I plan it out, but then I'm not actually like checking in with this as often. So I think that's sort of the part that needs to kind of shift a little bit. But besides that, like I still like everything about it, but just not, I'm not as excited about it, as easy to reach for as like the Traveler's Notebook. And I think a lot of it has to do with the size. But maybe that will change because my schedule will also change, and I'm also changing the way that, we keep saying changing, but I guess we will see how things evolve moving into the summer months. If my schedule shifts, then that means that my behavior would change with it to go along with it. So we will see. But for now, like, I wasn't as active in it as I would have liked to. So I'm not necessarily going to call it a fail, but it wasn't exactly a success story. I would love to hear from you guys. Let me know in the comment section below what is something that you have been absolutely loving for the month of May as you reflect back, and what is something that needs to change within your planner lineup. And I know that a lot of people are going to be talking about this to kind of reflect back on each of our planner systems and kind of evaluate and make changes as we go, or to make adjustments, whether it's with inserts or with the way that we're using it, whatever the case may be. But let me know in the comments. I would love to hear where your planning setup is at the moment. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and you can also subscribe if you haven't had a chance to already. I would love to have you here in the community. And in the meanwhile, just keep planning, keep journaling, keep doing all the things. And I cannot wait to see you in my next video. Bye.